What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about my coffee machine. I've done heaps of coffee edits using this machine. My first ever coffee edit was using, I think it was like Moccona instant coffee. It was just literally me like scooping it and putting it into a cup, pouring milk and then hot water and stirring it. And everyone was like, ugh, yuck. But that was all I had at the time. Now, for the last, maybe 2 years now, maybe a year and a half, I've had this coffee machine, and I've probably run maybe 100 to 200 coffees through it. I really don't keep track, but I usually have about maybe 3 coffees from it a week now that I've moved into this place. Earlier I was doing at least once a day. I'm actually surprised I've never done a video on this coffee machine. But we're doing one now, so better late than never. If I can find some of my old coffee edits, I'll put them at the end. If you want to see them and how they've progressed from instant coffee to the coffee machine to figuring out the best angles and way to do a coffee machine edit, like, you can watch them. I'll put them at the end of the video so they're out of the way. So let's get into talking about the coffee machine, making a cup of coffee, and the things I like and dislike about the machine. Alright, so starting off, let's talk about the coffee beans I use. So these are the ones I get. These are Victoria Coffee Mountain Grown beans. These are whole beans, and the setting it wants you to use is it wants it to be a super fine setting for espresso machines. Which means you have to grind that little bit extra because it's so super fine. But these are the new ones I've gotten. These are Victoria coffee beans, but these are the actual, what are they called? Italian blend. So, I don't know, they're a bit different. I usually have the mountain grown or the espresso because they're so similar, but I thought I'd try it up, try something different. Going on to my coffee machine kind of stuff that I use. You've probably seen this in the previous edit I did a few weeks ago. So I've got the little kind of, I forget what this is called every single time I talk about it, but it's the little kind of needles that declump all the little bundles of coffee. So I'll show you the whole process, but I usually use this just super quickly just to get those clumps out. I've got a little tool. This one kind of like just flattens out the coffee, makes it a smoother surface. It's just literally so it makes your tamper easier to kind of push the coffee down and more level. It's already pre-leveled and like ready to go. And then I've just got a little coffee mat that you can't really see, but it's just off to the side. It's just a coffee mat. Over here I've got the actual coffee bin where I dump all the coffee in. I have a little chocolate sprinkler, pretty simple, just chocolate powder inside and you sprinkle it on top. And then I've got my trusty white mug, which this is the perfect size for the amount of coffee. It's pretty much like a half is what it comes to, and it fills up to the perfect amount every single time. So always good to have a mug that you know the measurements to, because it makes life so much easier for you. Going on to my coffee drawer that I have, this is my second drawer down, which is for my coffee stuff. All I keep in here is usually my steaming jug, mug, whatever. Little compartment that holds extra portafilter inserty things, like cleaning brush, the little over filler, which I'm going to keep out because I use every time I make a coffee. Over here we've got like our scale and a cleaning brush. Our 2 portafilters, which one is just my cleaning one and one's the one I use my coffee for. I have a puck screen, which you're also going to keep out because I use it every single time, and a cool little cleaning tool. This is what actually comes with the BREVILLE machine. So what this is the little needle here is used to clean the inside of the actual like milk steamer, and this middle section is what takes off the end bit of the steamer, which helps, you know, with cleaning it and, you know, declogging any built up milk or any stuff. But that's usually all I keep in there. I usually keep everything else out, so it's easy to get to. So starting off with our coffee, if I go and grab our portafilter, I'll get the milk jug out as well because that will help. Pretty much all I do is get my portafilter, make sure you turn the machine on, which does a nice cleaning cycle, and all it does is just kind of spits any water that was sitting inside the machine out into the tray, just as a little startup sequence. Normally what I do like to do is I get this, and it's got its little rubber insert in there, which is good for cleaning. So you put that on the inside and make sure it's kind of sitting in there nice and flat. And all I do is I put that on, grab a mug out that I never ever use, like one of these green mugs, just a cheap little green mug that isn't very great. Put that under, come over to flush, and we just do a quick flush sequence. I do this about once a week. Sometimes I use the actual tablets that come with it. There's little cleaning tablets that you can put in there, or sometimes I just do this where I just put it through the machine. One, this warms up the insides of the machine for when you're going to start your actual coffee extraction, and this is also just pushing water back through the system, just cleaning out any buildup or any yuckiness that might be in there. If you do it once a week, usually I do once a fortnight with the tablet. Alright, so now that is completed, all you do is just take your mug out, which this one actually fills up to the perfect brim. Don't know if you can see that, you probably can't. And there's a lot of kind of floaties, a bit of just dust in there. Tip that away. And now we have a nice clean machine that we can start our coffee making with. So this just goes over here and gets clean and dried and put back for the next machine. Alright, so starting off, we're going to be getting our actual portafilter, putting on our little extender that we have. All this does is it makes it so the coffee doesn't just immediately overflow. It gives us more room to work with. This is something I really like that BREVILLE includes. But yeah, let's start. So our grind settings are on grind size 1 for 13 seconds. So let's go ahead and grind our 13 seconds of coffee. Look at these gorgeous coffee, like this gorgeous coffee. Like, it smells amazing. Like, I love the smell of grinded coffee. There's nothing better. So going down to here where we are now going to get our little needles. Forget what these are called. And all you do is just run it through, just circular motions, and all that's going to do is just take any of those clumps out from when it was grinded up and put through. Even a little bit of moisture can just cause some clumping. So all this does is just takes those clumps and says get stuff, and makes it look nice and smooth. Give it a few taps, level it out, and then this is what we're ended up with, which it's kind of hard to see on camera, but it's pretty flat. It's below the line of the portafilter. So now what we do is twist and take this off. This can go over here, we don't need it anymore. Now we're going to get our little thing, put that on top, push it down and twist. Sometimes depending on how the grinder ground the bean, sometimes there's a little bit of a build up and it doesn't grind it to a perfect grind one. And this is why you got to clean your grinder as much as you can, because you're going to end up with a whole bunch of coffee in there that is just getting ground but not pushed through. So now our tamper's on top. All we do is just push down, give it a good push. I usually do about 3, sometimes get a second on there, just so once I feel that pressure going down, I know it's nice and soft, and that looks pretty good. And now we get a little filter, put it on top, and there we go. Now we go over to here and we put it into our little slot, and there we go. We're gonna actually run the water through our coffee machine and make a beautiful coffee. All right, so here we are at our coffee machine. We've got our cup, so we put our cup underneath. Another thing about this machine is if you've got a small mug that's not very heavy, the actual vibrations will shake your mug away and you'll end up with coffee everywhere. This is a good heavy mug with a good base. So this mug won't move at all. So let's have a look. Not a bad pour. So we've got a little bit dripping down the handle. So clearly we've got some clumping. Whoops. It's kind of separating. But honestly, not a bad pour compared to some of the pours I've had on my my coffee edit videos. That's not bad. And then we've got a really nice crema on it. So then all you do is take it off. Something I do is I like to tap the puck screen out. There we go. And then over here on our bin, we just... Alright, so now we're going on to our milk. Got our milk jug here. I filled it up to just below the minimal line because I really don't need to use that much. It's a decent sized mug. Something you want to do when you first get your coffee machine, and every time before you do your milk, is turn your knob to on before you put the milk on and let it run, let it cycle. There we are. And I do 3 to 5 seconds of it steaming just to get any old milk that was stuck in there from the time before. You want to try and push that out, and it keeps it clean, makes it run for a lot longer in between big cleaning cycles. So if we go over to the left hand side, up here we have our knob, and this is what we use for our actual grind. So turn it away from you and that makes the hot water come out, turn it towards you and it makes it steam. What I like to do is tilt the coffee back like the milk until it touches and turn it on, because you're going to hear it kind of start screaming, and that's when you want to get those air pockets out. So it's on. There we go. So, and then I just leave it to do its thing. So now it'll just keep on like doing its thing. It'll just steam and steam and steam. I put it off to the side so the milk circles on its own, which then causes it to have an even steam instead of one portion of the milk getting steamed and the rest stays kind of cold, and it can cause clumping because you're overheating just one section. And you don't want your coffee to be all clumpy and gross because yuck. Yeah, so that's just going to do its thing. I usually let it run until you see the milk rise. Once the milk starts rising, it's steamed and up to temperature. So it's rising, 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 and now I turn it off. And then you see steam right inside here, which means it's pushed it back through the system, and that's where you get that milk that gets stuck inside. And as you can see, it's all on like the wand, so it's not exactly the nicest thing. This is where you have a nice trusty cloth, and now I like to fold it a couple of times till it's about this size because it gets pretty hot, and then all you do is wrap it around and wipe. So there we go. Get that nice end, face it back towards that hole and turn it back on. 3 to 5 seconds and off. There we are. Wipe the bottom of it again. And maybe just another wipe. I feel like I did a good job on that first go. Make sure you get that little crease, and there we are. So now that's a nice clean steam one. Something I pride myself on is keeping my machine clean. Some people just don't care, but I care. Alright, so now we've got our coffee and our milk give your milk a nice little swish around, and then you just pour it on top. I don't do any art or anything. I just let it kind of just float on top because it's gonna go on my gob pretty soon anyway. Something I recommend is putting your milk jug directly into soapy hot water, because you're going to get a lot of milk stuck in there, and you don't want to be leaving old milk in there. Then all we do is we just get our little chocolate and just tap it on top. And there we are. That's a beautiful coffee. Alright, so there we have it. That's the coffee machine. I think this is the BREVILLE Barista Pro in the black. I've got all my coffee stuff, my coffee beans, my coffee up there. You put your beans in the top, a little section where you can put mugs and whatever else. It stays pretty warm up here, so you can even use it as a bit of a heating pad for, to keep your coffee mugs and stuff on so they're nice and warm. You got a drip tray in the bottom. This all pulls out for easy cleaning. Power button, menu exit, grinder mount. Let me just zoom in so you can see. One shot, two shot. Inside your menu, you've got all your different custom buttons: flush, descale, reset default. It's all self-explanatory. Over on the side, we've got backwards to the top. If you push it backwards, it brings out hot water. So if we do that now, see, just spits out hot water. Bring it forward, steam one. Over on the side is grind. So push it backwards, it gives you a more coarser grind. Push it forwards towards you, it gives you a more finer grind, which makes it a slower pour. So it's all about finding that balance of whether you want that faster pour, slower pour. And usually with your coffees, sometimes on the side they will tell you what you should be using. So in here it says drip, like drip coffee, coarser, because it needs to drip through it. Plunger, coarser. Percolator, medium. Different type of percolator, between medium and fine, and then any type of espresso machine, it needs to be a super fine coffee. It's a really good coffee machine, especially for the price point. Considering a lot of coffee machines are around the $2,000 mark, this was $999, $1,000, and I think I got it $50 off because I did a price match with JB Hi-Fi. That's actually really good. And it's probably even cheaper now because I've had it for about a year and a half. Something I did want to touch base on is it does give you these options, two different coffee filter types. So you've got this one, which is called, it's a dual wool. So it's got two wools. So that means as the coffee's coming through, it gets filtered through here, and then it gets pushed through a second wool. This is actually used for pre-ground coffee. So anything that you buy in the bag or in a jar that's already being grinded up, this is what this is for. Then there is this one, which is just your normal standard coffee, which is just a single wool filled like little baskets, and this is for your grounded, like self-grounded coffee. So the difference is pre-ground is actually a different type of grind compared to the grind that you do yourself in an actual machine. Little fun fact about pre-ground coffee, I'm not sure if this is a well-known thing or not, but I do not drink pre-ground coffee anymore because of this. So in Australia, America, pretty much any country where you can get your pre-ground coffee, there's a acceptable limit of cockroaches that can go into coffee because it costs too much and it's too difficult to be separating cockroaches from the coffee. So what they do is they grind the coffee with cockroaches in it, and they just see how much there is. I think they test it by how much protein is in the coffee, and just the thought of the fact there's cockroaches going in with your coffee and then you're drinking it, I can't get the image out of my head. And the fact that it's just okay, it's acceptable. I understand it doesn't really affect it. If there's like, you know, a massive silo of just coffee beans and 100 cockroaches in it. Once you grind them up, really only every jar is getting like a little splat of cockroach in it. But just the thought of it is just disgusting. Something I will say is having even just, this is just a cheap scale off of Amazon. Your on off button, which I think the battery on this is dead. So on off, start stop, units and tar. Just one of these, and all you do is put your portafilter on it, hit tar, and it will set 0. It'll 0 to your actual portafilter. Get your coffee, put it in. You want, I think, about 70 to 80 grams, and sit it on top. You get about that, and that's how much you should have inside of it. And then you want a pour of about 28 to 32 seconds. Anywhere before that, it's grinding too fast and there's too much water passing through. So you need to be doing a finer grind. Anywhere above that, you need to be going more coarser because you don't have enough water going through. Now, honestly, it's going to change with every single coffee you make. I've had the same setup for 6 months now for this coffee bean that I had, and every single coffee I made, it was different. So some days it would be a lot finer, I would find, and the coffee would just not go through it. It could be a 40-second pour. Then the next time I make a coffee, it's like water and it's splurting out, and then by the third coffee, it's perfect. So it's always going to be changing. Just make sure you clean your coffee, your grinder, like your coffee machine, everything. Make it nice and clean, look nice, and you'll find your coffee will come out perfect. So that's pretty much it. I'm sorry I haven't gone through the coffee machine earlier. I'm sorry this isn't a perfect video. If you saw the place I'm living in, it's like a shoebox. It's a nice place, but there's not a lot of room to set up film equipment, so it's kind of a bit squished, but that's okay. We make do. But thank you all for coming out and watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video, which I'm hoping will be a vlog if I don't get sick and if everything goes well. And it's going to be putting my R6 Mark II through the paces with night photography and some bird photography with the 24 to 105 lens to see how that does. I have an idea of how to do that, and just some more stuff thrown in there. I just want to workhorse this camera and dial in every single custom setting and everything I possibly can to make my photography 10 times better for next year. So that's going to do it for this week. Thank you all for coming out and watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Wait, where's my coffee? Peace. What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Wait, we need coffee.